Dude, this story I'm about to tell will chill you to the bone. Sit down, turn off the lights, and get ready, because after this you'll think twice before walking alone at night. It was a Friday, end of the workday, and I was exhausted. The city, as always, was in chaos, with people running to catch the last bus, cars honking nonstop, and that heavy atmosphere of people just wanting to get home and forget the week existed. I was no different. I grabbed my things and went to the bus stop, hoping it wouldn't take too long. As I waited, something strange happened. You know when you feel like someone is watching you? Yeah, it was exactly like that. I looked around, but all I saw was a homeless man sleeping on a bench and a couple arguing in the middle of the street. Nothing out of the ordinary. Still, the feeling wouldn't go away. Finally, the bus arrived. I got on and sat in the back as I always do. That's when I saw her. A woman with long black hair, sitting alone, staring out the window. She had a strange aura, you know? Something about her didn't seem right, but I ignored it. Probably just another tiring day. The bus lights flickered occasionally, adding to the eerie atmosphere. After a few stops, I noticed she was still there, sitting in the same spot, staring blankly. When it was my turn to get off, she got off too. Okay, it could just be a coincidence, right? But the feeling of being watched returned full force. I walked through poorly lit streets, trying to shake off the irrational fear. But then, I heard footsteps behind me. I quickened my pace, and the footsteps quickened too. I looked back, and there she was, the woman from the bus, following me. My heart raced. I took a shortcut through an alley, hoping to lose her. That's when I heard a whisper. "Hey, you." My blood ran cold. There was no one else in the alley. I looked around, but only saw shadows. I kept walking, trying to ignore the rising panic. Then I heard it again, closer this time. "Hey, you. Need to know the truth." Suddenly, I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. I turned quickly, ready to face whoever it was. But there was no one. The woman had vanished. My instincts screamed at me to run, and that's exactly what I did. I ran to my building, took the stairs 2 at a time, and locked myself in my apartment. I was trying to calm down when I heard a noise coming from the bedroom, a scratching at the door. I went there, slowly, and opened the door. Nothing. My room was empty, except for one thing, a note on my bed. I picked it up with trembling hands and read, "The truth is closer than you think." My mind was racing. What did it mean? Who was that woman? Before I could think any further, I heard a noise in the kitchen. I went there, and to my surprise, the woman was there, standing with a macabre smile on her face. "You can't escape the truth," she said. Suddenly, the lights went out. I was left in the dark, hearing only her breathing, feeling her presence getting closer. And then one last whisper. "This is just the beginning," and that's how my life turned into a nightmare. I never saw that woman again, but the whisper in the darkness never left me. And now, every night when I turn off the lights, I wait. I wait for the next encounter, the next revelation, because somehow I know she'll be back. After that night, my life turned upside down. I couldn't sleep properly. My dreams were always about that woman and the damn whisper in the dark. I didn't know what was real and what was paranoia anymore. I decided to investigate. I needed to understand who she was and why she chose me. First stop, the library. I spent hours researching stories of hauntings, evil entities, anything that could explain what was happening. That's when I found an old, dusty book at the back of a shelf. Urban Legends and Dark Mysteries, the title read. I quickly flipped through it until I found a story that sent chills down my spine. The Lady of Shadows was an old legend about a woman who appears to those who are about to discover a great truth about their lives. She whispers dark secrets, drives her victims to the brink of madness, and only disappears when the truth is finally revealed. And that truth often changed everything forever. But what was my truth? What did I need to discover? With this thought in mind, I decided to go back to where it all started. I went to the bus stop where I first saw the woman. I waited, observing every person that passed by. Nothing, just the normal flow of a big city. I was about to give up when I heard a whisper. "Go back to where it all began." Of course, the bus. I got on the next one and sat at the back, just like before. The lights still flickered, creating that eerie atmosphere. A few stops later, there she was, the woman with black hair, sitting in the same spot, staring out the window. My heart raced, but this time I didn't get off. I waited. She stood up and, for the first time, looked directly at me. Her gaze was piercing, as if she could see through my soul. I felt a chill run down my spine but stayed calm. When she got off, I followed her. We walked through streets I didn't know, getting darker and more deserted. Finally, we arrived at an old abandoned house. The windows were broken, the door hanging from a rusty hinge. She entered without hesitation. I took a deep breath and followed her. The interior was full of dust and cobwebs, with old furniture covered in white sheets. The woman stopped in the middle of the room and turned to me. "Do you want the truth?" she asked, her voice echoing through the empty space. I nodded, unable to speak. She pointed to a door at the end of the hallway. "It's there. But be prepared, because what you find may change everything." With hesitant steps, I walked to the door. Each step seemed to echo in my brain, increasing the tension. I turned the knob and pushed the door open, revealing a dark room. A single candle burned in the center, illuminating an old, battered diary. I picked up the diary and started reading. It was the diary of a man who had lived in that house decades ago. He described encounters with the same woman, her whispers of dark truths, and how she drove him to the brink of madness. But the most shocking part was when I read his name, João Alves. My grandfather. My mind was spinning. My grandfather had never mentioned anything about this. I kept reading, and the last entry was the most disturbing. He wrote about a family secret, something my father discovered that could change our lives forever. Something about a hidden inheritance linked to an old crime. Suddenly, the candle went out. I felt her presence again, stronger than ever. "You found the truth. Now you must deal with the consequences." The lights came back on, and the woman was gone. I was alone in the room holding the diary. The pieces of the puzzle started to fit together. I needed to confront my father, find out what he knew. But more than that, I knew this journey was far from over. The whisper in the darkness still haunted me, and I felt many other dark truths were yet to come. With the diary in hand, I ran to my parents' house. Each step felt like a challenge, my mind racing with questions and fears. When I arrived, my father was in the living room, reading his newspaper, as if nothing had happened. "Father, we need to talk," I said, holding the diary as proof of what I had discovered. He looked at me, confused. "About what, son?" "About Grandpa and this diary. About the truth he discovered." His face paled at the sight of the diary. "Where did you find that?" I told him everything about the woman on the bus, the whisper, and the abandoned house. He sighed deeply, as if he carried an immense weight. "There are things you shouldn't know, but now it's too late." My father started talking about a crime that had occurred decades ago. My grandfather had discovered that our family was involved in $1 million theft. The inheritance we possessed was the result of that crime, and he had spent his life trying to clear our name. But before he could do anything, he was silenced by the same woman who now haunted me. She is a guardian of the truth, but also a curse. Those who discover her secret pay a high price, my father explained, tears streaming down his face. Suddenly, all the lights in the house went out. The familiar whisper filled the air. "The truth sets free, but it also condemns." The woman appeared again, her sinister figure hovering in the corner of the room. "You found the truth, but the truth has consequences." Before I could react, I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I looked down and saw blood. The woman smiled, and everything went dark. I woke up in a hospital, my father by my side. "You were attacked, but you're going to be fine," he said, holding my hand. The whisper still echoed in my mind. The truth had been revealed, but the curse was not yet broken. I knew the woman of shadows would return, that my encounter with the unknown was far from over. And so, my life continued, now marked by the shadow of a terrible truth. I knew that one day, somewhere the whisper would call me again, and I would be waiting. Thank you for watching another Dark Tales video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any scary stories. See you next time, and beware of the dark.